Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back at last to the Final Fantasy VII Remake playthrough. So, we're still in side quest mode, and we're going to be for, I think, I want to say the next...
The rest of the game.
Well, no. I want to say the next 6 parts or so, because I think it took 8 parts for me to get from this point to the end of the Don Corneo sewer section. And I think I spent 2 parts on just that. So it's all going to be running around the slums doing side quests and stuff for a while.
Isn't Aerith like kidnapped and in
She's fine.
peril or
Yeah, she's
some
fine.
shit?
No matter how quick you get your ass up to the tower, you're not going in until nightfall anyway. So it's not exactly like we need to get there as fast as we can. You get there faster, you're just going to be sitting outside with your thumb up your butt for a while. Might as well use the time for something productive. Like helping little girls find music CDs to play on old jukeboxes.
Just to go back to something at the beginning of the part, I sort of feel some sort of way that we spent the first 30 seconds on a load screen that's not going to be there by the time the PS5 re-release happens.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to read those tidbits anymore because the load screens are going to be so fast. And I'm wondering will they take the time to repurpose that to some sort of miscellaneous menu.
That would be nice, yeah. They're already channeling some pretty hard BioWare in this game, so they might as well have a codex or a data log even. But yeah, it would be it would be neat if they did that. It's playing Skyrim on a fast enough system presents you with a similar problem because the load times often give you text blurbs about different aspects of the world building. And
I feel bad if the Bouncer was ever re-released on PS5 with SSD load times because crucial story elements for characters' backgrounds are in load screens.
Well, in that case, they would probably have a button that appears when the load is complete so that you can advance past it.
That would be the smart thing to do.
Anyway.
Unless you don't realize it's there and you're wondering, wow, my game just froze.
Anyway, for this side quest, there are 3 specific music records that you need to find. They're all marked with a little green exclamation point icon, as you can see up there. But there are actually, I think, 5 music CDs that you can find in the general wall market area during this portion of the game. This is the guy who's actually Amatsu, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay. See, this guy looks a lot more Japanese.
Are you coming on to me?
He also, oh man, it's very fitting that he sounds like he's stoned off his ass considering what they were recording.
Anyway, one of the cute things about the side quest is that every time you bring back one of the 3 music tracks that Betty needs for the jukebox, she starts dancing to the music. And I think she has a different dance for all 3. It's adorable as hell, though. This is also the, if you remember from way earlier in the game, the same NPC that you got the Find the Cats side quest from.
This song is a favorite of mine.
She really likes the Inn theme, apparently.
Hey, I know it doesn't sound like much, but some of my favorite tracks in the Final Fantasy series are the rest music when you're going to sleep.
Yeah, but she said, this song is a favorite of mine. There is no song. It's not a song. It doesn't have lyrics.
Songs can not have lyrics.
No, music cannot have lyrics. A song is literally lyrics.
Not,
it is the words that you sing.
Sure about
you
that?
have to sing for there to be a song.
To Merriam-Webster.
I am gonna hold on a moment. This is I know this is
There's different music. There's different names for different things in music, just as there's different names for different things in everything. And a song is specifically something that comes out of your mouth.
The dictionary might say that you're right, but I say you're wrong because people.
And at the end of the day, what's more important?
I mean, I know people just
facts or feelings.
I know people just use simple words for shorthand, but yeah, literally, a song is something you sing. You need to have lyrics for that, or at the very least, something vocalized. I don't know. Could you call a cappella
You mean acapella?
Remix, acapella,
Acapella.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, also, but the English language is more about what is actually used versus what is supposed to be used, which is why it's GIF and not GIF.
Wait, what?
Wait. Which is why it's GIF and not GIF. Sorry, I got it backwards. Fuck.
I was gonna say I love peanut butter.
Yeah. I also love peanut butter, but yeah. Anyway, this is the stupidest argument we've had on the channel. Moving on.
No, I'd say we haven't quite surpassed.
Did you remember what we did the
you
last
miss
time?
the 10-minute fucking fascist tangent?
I was purposefully not bringing it up.
I'll stand by my argument there, but I will also
I don't want to.
But I will also freely admit that it was the stupidest argument we've had on
Shut
this
up.
channel. Okay. Anyway, we still need to do the special match at the Coliseum for Kyrie, so let's knock that out real quick. It's actually not a particularly long battle, but it is a bit of a mini-boss, because we have to fight the Beastmaster again. The guy from the earlier tournament that we went through with Aerith in the story. He has...
We were fighting just as one guy and a healer. What's he going to do now that we have 3 attackers?
Well, he brought a bigger dog this time.
Good for him. That's not going to help much.
Well, actually...
The first boss was literally like a 20-foot tall Magitech Scorpion.
This monster is quite... well, it can take the legs right out from under you if you're not careful. Watch out for it. I think it's called Hellhound, something like that. In any case, I'm pretty sure this monster is one of those cases where the game brought in a monster from later on in the original Final Fantasy VII to serve as a boss. They do that again with Tonberry, but
yeah, you don't see him till like halfway through the game, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Wait, isn't that the asshole that you fight when you get Vincent in your party?
What? I don't think so.
Yeah,
Oh, wait. You mean Lost Number? No, Lost Number is a completely different entity.
I don't think
But
Lost
it was
Number
like
was-
it's like chopped in half and has 2 different colors, though, right?
No.
It wasn't chopped in half. It just had 2 different forms.
Okay, I haven't played this.
It was more of a mutant abomination than anything.
Yeah, it was like a failed Shinra experiment.
Anyway, just knock out the Beastmaster first. He's got a lot less HP. But it's a little hard to go after him because you see the dog seems to like pouncing on you or targeting you whenever you target the Beastmaster.
Not to mention, this dude's got a knife.
Huh?
He's got a
He's got a knife.
Yeah.
Totally makes him a threat. I just imagine Cloud giving him like Uncle Iroh advice, where it's like, spread your legs and keep your center of gravity. You're holding it wrong.
Did you see that frickin' moon gravity ragdoll that the Beastmaster did when I finished him off?
To be fair, he was on the receiving end of a Tifa blow, so...
Oh my.
Oh, yeah, I realized we were just like, Actually, I'd be concerned if I moon jumped like that.
Damn it, I'm stuck. My only way out is to switch to a different character and hope that the monster retargets. Anyway.
See, this is why it's not. That's why he's not. This is why he's not as impressive. He's only a Hellhound. He's not a Hellhouse.
Off by 2 letters there.
You ain't nothing but a hell house.
Not gonna go for maximum fury out now that he's stunned.
I am...
Yay! It does so much damage.
Yeah, what was it renamed to? I forget. Was it Anger or something like that? 'Cause it's basically Unger Max, which was, I think, Barrett's level 3 limit break in the original game. But one of the level 3s, anyway. Where it's like, fuck it, we know Barrett has a gun, let's just have him go ape shit.
Needs more DACA.
I don't know.
Which is so weird, because I know we talked about this before, but... the level 3 limit breaks were often just better than the level 4s. The only exception I can think of is Cloud. Because it was literally just like 12 to 15 hits.
Well, like, if you got the level 4 limit break earlier on when your overall attack power was lower, having one 9,999 damage attack would be good. But later on in the game, as you get stronger, being able to hit multiple times generally means you're hitting for max damage or close to it multiple times. And since it wasn't really until I want to say Final Fantasy X that characters started to gain an unlockable ability. Goddamn, the Hellhound is goddamn knockback.
He's hopping like a monkey.
It wasn't until 10 that characters started to be granted an unlockable ability that allowed them to break damage limits. Until 8 was, I think, the first Final Fantasy that let you go above 9,999, but it only did it with one particular ability, and that was Eden. The final summon could go into 5 digits, I think.
I think Jumbo Cactar also had
Jumbo Cactar
10,000.
Jumbo Cactar had 10,000 needles, but he was also an enemy.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cactar summon could go above 9,000, but I could be wrong. I never used Cactar much.
The damage cap thing has always been a weird part of the Final Fantasy battle system for me. Just because, granted, I don't know how much of it is the, a holdover from when the max damage they could program was 9,999, and how much was something that they, intended to have be part of a game. I'm not really sure.
I think it's partially because you see this with other RPGs all the time where when the limit is effectively non-existent, players will always find a way to, if we do this setup with this buff and that's debuff and this character swapping thing is we can do 50 bajillion damage in one turn and one shot all the bosses. It's they will find a way to do that.
In some RPGs, yes. From what I know of certain RPGs, what I know of particularly Japanese RPGs, at least some of the more popular ones, I think that's not really possible, at least in classic games. I don't know as much about PS1 era stuff, but it's typically pretty hard in say the SNES Dragon Quests to get yourself to cheese your way to a max damage attack at any given point in the game.
I think it's more they don't want the possibility of it existing.
I guess that's also true. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just kind of weird that a lot of the later Final Fantasies do end up making it a conscious gameplay effort where, there are a lot of moves that will just do hit twice, and that's done on purpose because eventually you will get 9,999 on that kind of stuff. And so they want to make it a strategy for you to try to be oh, now you want to do multi-hits. They kind of teach that to you.
It could also just straight up be a programming thing. Maybe, especially back in the day, they couldn't have it so that you can do more than 4 digits of damage without risking something falling apart in the coding.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it might have started as a coding limitation and then later on become a
kind of a tradition, yeah.
Yeah, more of a gameplay element.
When you get back to Final Fantasy IX, though, one of the things that always kind of interested me about its design was that all the HP values in Final Fantasy IX started to look a lot more like Final Fantasy VI and earlier. The final boss only has 65,000 HP.
I prefer that in RPGs, though, personally. This might...
Admittedly, I do, too, unless it's a super boss.
I remember seeing, reviews of the original Paper Mario online, GameFAQs reviews and stuff like that, and they were how am I supposed to care about a boss fight when he's only got 30 health? And I'm because the game's still fun. And I don't know, I just personally find that the math is much more concrete when, you're dealing with digits at least under 3 digits, for
that's a game where you're doing single digit damage. You got to put it in perspective.
Yeah, I know, but that they were oh, it's lame when I only do 2 damage per attack.
Yeah, I'm talking to the reviewer in question here. It's you got to put it in perspective. The boss might only have 30 HP, but you only do 2 or 3 damage.
This person was oh, big numbers means better game pretty much.
No,
Like, Paper
not
Mario
at
would
all.
not be a better game if you did 100 damage per attack, and each enemy had like 400 health.
It would be
That's
a
not
harder
the
game to
point.
follow for younger audiences.
Yeah, well, that's part of why I think it's a really good game if you want to teach a first grader basic addition and subtraction. Like, Paper Mario legitimately helped me be better at math as a kid. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's also a strategy game kind of thing too, in that I kind of like games where you need to figure out, okay, how do I get the numbers to line up exactly where I need? And so, granted, it's a very different deal when you're playing Final Fantasy. I understand that, where it's more like you're doing between 500 and 600 damage per attack, and you don't really care if it's 537 or 562 or whatever.
I would say it'd probably matter if you were into scanning enemies, like in your first playthrough, getting an idea of how much HP they have left. It's like, if I do this, they'll likely die next turn.
When you're older like us and you're looking at the numbers in a Final Fantasy game, generally what you'll do is you'll just ignore the ones and the tens digits entirely and just estimate how many hits you need to do with something by just looking at the hundreds and the thousands.
Yes. That's what I do.
So it winds up...
Unless I'm off by 1 HP, then I was like, man, I really should have paid attention to those single digits.
It winds up being the same thought process, just with, like, the decimal point.
Oh, by the way, fuck this fish.
The blue goo.
the slumberous boob.
Bubble
I hate
Beam,
it.
it's super effective.
But this bubble beam puts you to sleep.
Bubble beam
it doesn't paralyze
Bubble
you.
beam slows your speed, not put you to sleep.
Oh, does it just? I thought it paralyzed you.
What water attack in Pokemon ever paralyzes you?
It's more of an...
Hold on, you say that. We're in Generation 8. There's got to be one.
more of a-
No, I
There's
die.
one, there's one that burns. But
Yeah, but that one at least makes
That's
sense.
Scald.
Yeah,
I was like, I
Scald.
said scold. I mean Scald.
Scold, where you
It
tell
just yells
Pikachu
at
no. Yeah, but at least Scald makes sense because you're shoving hot water on them
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
Come
Come on, I'm serious. Like, I don't want to look it up. We're Generation 8. There's got to be at least one water attack that paralyzes.
No.
Anyway, I won't be doing all of the Coliseum battles right away, although I do recommend doing all of them because the prizes are quite nice. I'll get the other ones during a revisit in a later part. But I did want to get the wild animals Coliseum battles out of the way now, so that I would have all of the
limits.
all of the limit breaks. Yes, I got Ascension for Cloud and Planet Protection for Aerith earlier, but I still need to get Dolphin Flurry for Tifa and Catastrophe.
When
for
do we get
Barret.
Dolphin Blow?
Well, it is a lot more of a flurry in this game anyway, so the rename makes sense. It's if I remember correctly, like much like Cloud's Ascension, the Dolphin Flurry is a big old multi-hit attack. The level 2...
Yeah, that's generally the reward you get for, like, higher limits, is they just do more attacks. I'm not sure if it still follows the same old rules where they take longer to build.
Yes,
I don't
they
think.
do.
Oh, they do.
Do they? Okay. It was roly-poly motherfucker. I love
That said, while you're using your level 2 limit breaks, this game does give you something else to do with your limit meter. It gives you the refocus materia, which you can activate with less limit break than you can with for the
Nope. Well, let me take your time.
Oh yeah, I'm just waiting for it to...
No, I was talking to the Chocobo.
Was there a reason you had to wait for the Chocobo to kill that guy? Because it looked like you could have finished him off.
I felt like
Whenever
it.
the hell-
The
okay.
the Chocobo was pulling out his bomb. It felt polite to, let him get his kill. I'm not Cloud. I don't kill Steel. Anyway. This stupid hedgehog pie is really starting to piss me off.
So we're gonna attack the other monster instead.
Oh, they can hit you from off screen. Oh, jeez.
Yes, I can.
There's multiple targets. There's only one of you. I don't think there's
There's much they can do about that.
conservation and ninjutsu in effect here.
It would
so.
be nice if during gameplay you could pull the camera back and get a more tactical view of the battlefield during play, but as far as I know, the only camera distance option you have is like literally in the menu.
So you can't zoom in or zoom out the camera while you're playing?
No, I don't think so.
Let's make it hot.
Okay, we made it hot. Roast chicken.
It's actually a drake.
I'm sure it tastes like chicken.
I don't think dragon actually tastes like chicken. Or maybe, I don't know, you know, I can't say for sure because I never tasted a dragon. Unless you want to count lizards.
Have you tasted lizard?
I
Have
think I
you?
might have had a baked lizard tail at some point in my life. Maybe when I was in Puerto Rico.
So at this point in the playthrough, I started out like really tired, which is why I make a few boneheaded mistakes during this part and possibly the next part. But then I was like, wait, I don't have a full-time job anymore. I don't need to cram all of my recording into stupid o'clock in the morning. So I stopped recording. I put the game away and I came back to it another day, and suddenly recording Final Fantasy VII Remake was fun again.
I remember this feeling.
Yeah, like I'm gonna confess, like for the last while recording my footage, I wasn't really consciously thinking about it, but it did become more of a chore to me because I had to cram it in outside of my regular work hours at the convenience store. So, and I was working overnight, so this always wound up happening at like 7 a.m. in the morning after a shift. And as a result, I started to just sort of bumble through the game, which is part of the reason the quality of my gameplay during Crash 4 kind of deteriorated toward the second half, if you didn't notice. I started to make a lot more mistakes because I was more tired while I was playing, and maybe not as into playing the game while I was actually doing it. But then, like, I quit my job and I can choose my own hours and I don't have to record when I'm dead tired anymore. So I feel so alive. I can play video games and have fun with it again. God damn.
So
This
do
isn't
the
fun, though.
ghosts work for Shinra now? Because it said that we were facing off against Shinra guys.
I'm pretty sure they just captured one and are using it like they would use their war dogs.
Or they're just, it's a side mission, so who cares?
I cares. The continuity of what the ghosts do in Final Fantasy VII is extremely important.
And yeah,
If you say
casting
so.
Raise on the Ghosts is actually a death spell. So there's that question answered. All right.
Give your best shot.
That might be part of the reason they didn't let you have full life earlier. Because that would
Is
just
it a level cap thing for that, or you need an item for it?
full life. It's just a ridiculously high AP requirement to level up the materia.
Oh, okay.
All right. There are 2 group combat challenges in the arena here. One of them is this one. It's, it's okay. It's fun. The enemy groups are quite a challenge. Nothing like particularly worth writing home about. The other one is the one that's interesting because it's a 2-person challenge. So you have to choose 2 party members and leave one of the others out. But it's also a set of successive battles against Al.
Against
oh no!
Al?
Oh no!
Oh, is he still carrying the sword? Okay, that's cute.
Yeah. They all have something on their back that signifies who they are. Like, I think Tifa Frog still has long hair.
Okay, that's cute. All right, I like that.
Hi ho, Kermit the Cloud here. Soldier first class.
Hey, Cloud, we're gonna go and beat up them Shinra, right? Waka waka.
The other challenge, though, is a successive battle against mini-boss enemies. Don't turn your back on me, asshole.
Well, he's dead for his trouble.
All right.
Crabs, as they fought in ancient Japan.
What?
Flip it on its back for massive damage, or just stagger it, whichever works.
Oh, he's
PS3
giant enemy
them.
crab is
Yeah.
what is the thing he's referencing.
Yeah, but this is just sort of a medium enemy crab.
No, it's pretty big for a crab.
Well, yeah, but it's not giant. It's still smaller than we are.
Listen,
It's
okay,
giant-
if I
si-
see a
size-
crab
size is
that's the
relative.
size of a dog, that's a giant crab.
Well, yes, by our standards, but by the standards of the meme, the giant enemy crab was quite a bit larger than the player.
No,
Oh.
it's still a giant crab.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh boy, poison enemies.
I do not remember this guy from the game at all.
No, we fought it earlier.
Yeah, the Queen Grass Strike, we fought it on the way to the second reactor, actually.
Yeah.
Where was it in the? Was it in the main game too? Because
Yeah.
I don't remember it even the tiniest little bit.
Almost
been a
all
while.
the enemies you'll fight in the challenges are in the main game somewhere. I say almost because there are like one or two exceptions, like Malboro in the post-game stuff.
Which, you know, that's just they happen to have them ready for the next part.
Well, it's
Or
because
interestingly, or it could be because we saw Malboro in the 16 trailer, so they might have been using something, a version of that model.
well, the main reason is that you can't have enemy skills in a Final Fantasy game and not also have bad breath. So
I mean, you could, but
you could, but you would be seriously breaking tradition. God damn these stupid enemies.
I mean, it's not that important, I guess. Like, it's just one guy, but whatever.
What, Malboro?
Yeah.
Oh, he's also one of the more iconic monsters in the series. It'd be like...
I mean, sorta. I have a hard time personally
he's a-
remembering a lot of Final Fantasy enemies outside of, like, Tomberry Cactar.
well, yeah.
Moogle's not really an enemy.
But-
so-
bomb.
But in a way, that makes the ones that are memorable more memorable, if that makes sense. The,
The 10 different kinds of ice cream from 10.
yeah. Malboro, Iron Giant, Bomb, Tonberry. Let's see, what else? Something like... Yeah, it's just that handful that I just mentioned. That appear in some form or other in almost every game. Although I don't remember Malboro ever showing up in Final Fantasy XIII, which is a travesty.
How much enemy variety did Final Fantasy 13 even have, though?
It wasn't. It's one of the few things I won't give it too much flack for. Enemy variety was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't 10 levels of different kinds of ice cream.
Yeah, and the different kinds of enemies, because they were all moving around doing different tactical things on the battlefield. The different kinds of enemies did have a way of feeling mechanically memorable in Final Fantasy XIII. The thing about 13's enemies, though, is that they were really trying to have their own visual identity for Final Fantasy XIII. So even the familiar ones, like the bombs, tended to not look like their usual selves. Like, bomb-type enemies in Final Fantasy XIII were these frickin' living 20-sided dice robots. And, like, they had, like, vestiges of the classic bomb design integrated into that aesthetic, but the 20-sided dice hexagonal thing was really overpowering, so it looked more like that than it did like a bomb. I'm not going to give it too much shit for that, because the designs they did come up with for Final Fantasy XIII were all really good. It was everything else built around those designs that
Yeah.
had problems.
I mean, as we bash on everything else about that game, the game's visual design is not one of its weak points.
Yeah. Like, even now, I would say Final Fantasy XIII is visually one of the better aged games of its generation. So,
Come back anytime you want to fight.
In fact, like, the only real difference between the way 13 looks and the way Final Fantasy VII looks is the number of polygons and the lighting.
Oh, what? Did something just fade into existence there?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
This won't be a problem on the PS5 version.
yeah. God bless solid state drives.
The hell is that thing?
With these babies, you can
It's an exploding doll. You can throw at things.
Those are fuzzy wuzzies. And what's the other one called? Well, we're gonna find out what the other one's called.
Was he
Mr. Cuddlesworth.
Mr. Cuddlesworth.
It's like for 20 seconds, Final Fantasy VII decided to dip into the Ratchet and Clank pool. So now we have exploding dolls, which is exactly the kind of thing you'd get in Ratchet and Clank.
I'm confused.
You'll also find a few of these naturally while going through Don Corneo's secret stash. Apparently he likes the exploding dolls.
The description is so simplistic but great. It's like an adorable stuffed animal. Also an explosive.
Oh no, these aren't pies. They're bombs.
Buy one for your kids.
It'll be a blast.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
It's like some old guy was listening to 90s kids talk, and he heard some kid say that this toy that he likes is the bomb. So, and then he had a eureka moment. Look at her dancing over there. She's adorable. The dance she does for the battle theme is the best, though.
It makes me feel like I can do anything.
It does, kind of, doesn't it? The Final Fantasy VII battle theme is one of the best in the series, I will say.
You people are easily motivated.
Then help us fight Shinra. Oh, not that world. I meant more like my inner world, my echo chamber, which I also call Shinra.
And then that guy just went home and ate Cheetos for the rest of the day.
No, he's in the street doing kung fu fighting. His fists were fast as lightning.
What do you
Except not
get
as
for
fast as
giving
Steve
her
is.
music?
It's one of the side quests. So
It's just part of the side quest, basically.
Yeah. You need to do all of the side quests in the section to get the final elemental materia,
which is so worth it.
Yes, the elemental. You only get one. You only get 2 elemental materias in the entire game, and just having one is really useful. So having a second one, yes, please.
But hell, me and the birds have been through thick and thin. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out after I open a cold brew.
Why are you talking about your chocobos like you would talk about your wife?
Well, she left me a number of
Chocobos
years
are my
ago.
wife.
Oh no, let's not.
After
go
the
there.
divorce, I had nowhere to sleep but at the stables for a while.
Then I realized the Chocobos were the ones who really understood me.
Yeah, they never talked back for one. It's got dark.
Okay.
I find it to be an uplifting love story about how man and Chocobo can cross boundaries together.
Well, that would be why you would rent a long distance transport animal to cross boundaries. It's you know, it's a little weird, I'm going to say, playing Final Fantasy 15 and realizing that it takes less time to drive from one end of the map to the other than it does to actually get to the real life convenience store that I used to work at. Which itself is only 3 miles away. So, and keep in mind, driving from one end of the map to the other is not a straight line process. The road you would drive to get from one map to the other actually does zigzag quite a bit throughout the environment. So,
But once you get far enough into the game, or is it post game, I forget. But once you get to that point, you won't need roads.
yeah.
Dun, dun,
But like,
dun.
someone uploaded a video of driving from one end of the map to the other in real time, and it just has Ignis driving Noctis and crew from like the start of the road outside Insomnia to the very end of the road at some mountain way on the other side of the map. And it takes about 5 minutes. It's like game worlds like that feel big, but they're actually quite small. So when you think too much about it, it's like Wow, okay. This battle for the fate of the world in this open world game took less world area to complete than, like, the smallest of America's states.
Also, TV, you're surprised. He was basically telegraphing it the entire time.
Well, I mean, she doesn't exactly look like Phantom Thief material.
Her design's too unique to just be a generic NPC, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not unreasonably handsome or beautiful. That's very unique in this game. I mean, you got to admit, I've got a point.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy VII universe, everyone is unreasonably attractive. Everyone. it's well, almost everyone. Occasionally you run across an NPC who just looks normal, and it's like, whoa, are you a self-insert character?